Less traffic during COVID did not make the roads safer. In fact, just the opposite. And state troopers and the Department of Transportation are asking all of us to do better. Fox 13 is proud to partner with Zero Fatalities, as they say it's the only goal that we can all live with. So the guests we're about to interview gave us some tough facts here, comparing 2020 on the roads to the average in 2018 and 2019. People stopped for going over 100 miles per hour. Those were up 45%. Road pursuits up 50%. DUIs up 10%. Wrong way fatal crashes up 36%. And then one somewhat positive, stops for speeding were down 2%. All right, so Lieutenant Nick Street is familiar to many of you as the spokesperson for the Utah Highway Patrol. But Lieutenant, before we get into the big picture, you have been a trooper. You are a veteran of the roads. Every one of those numbers is a person. So what is it like to be that first person on the scene in a fatal crash?
It's tough. It's nothing any state trooper is going to look forward to. You get on scene, the sights, the smell, there's that feeling in the air that tragedy has struck, and sometimes there are witnesses there who are trying to help, and just in some cases a real feeling of panic and trying to get to others who you might still be able to rescue. But it's a tough scene for us, and not something we'd love to get to that goal of zero fatalities, so we never have to experience that again.
I can only imagine what that is like. It's we go to those scenes as reporters, but always from a distance, and you're right there. So when you saw that this was happening and that there were more dangerous things going on the roads during this pandemic, it seemed not to make a lot of sense. What have you done to try and figure out what's going on?
Well, with that, as you mentioned, the decline in the overall amount of traffic citations that we've issued didn't exactly meet the 13% decline in traffic that we saw in 2020. So even with that 13% decline, we only saw a 2% decrease in the amount of citations issued. It should have been consistent. So in retrospect, that's kind of an increase when you look at the volume. And that was the one number that you mentioned that wasn't an increase over the average of 2018, 2019. So, we're not in panic mode necessarily for 2020. It's definitely, chalk it up to an anomaly. But at the same time, there are behaviors that Utahns can start doing now to curb the trend that we've seen in 2020 and we're currently seeing through this latter half of the pandemic.
Some of these things that we're talking about are, these are really serious things. You talk about an increase in DUIs. There have been mental health impacts of this pandemic, and some of those probably have to do with substance abuse as well. And the other things like wrong way driving, these are some things that maybe do you find are related directly to the impact the pandemic is having on people?
It's possible. I wouldn't be an expert to look at the correlation there with the increase. And then, of course, the pandemic restrictions. It's hard not to possibly see a correlation. But at the same time, those things, wrong way driving and impaired driving, they go hand in hand. Yeah. Our worst cases of wrong way driving are typically people who are impaired. And we just encourage people and them to, if you're going to consume some type of impairing substance, whether it's recreating or self-medicating, whatever the case may be, please ensure you have a safe and sober ride to your destination or home after you've been to your destination.
So you mentioned some of the things that we can all do. I guess some of it means we really have to examine ourselves. What of these things that we're talking about do we maybe do we do? Do we drive too fast or that sort of thing? What are you hoping?
Well, we're hoping that, Utahns will self-reflect a little bit and understand there is even with the best drivers out there, there is a behavior or two that we can change to create a more positive outcome for those around us. If we all just drove with everyone else in mind, I'd be out of the job, just following the simple golden rule. But little things like checking your cell phone at a traffic light, especially, those that might check their cell phone while they're moving down the road, operating equipment with inside your vehicle that can also be distracting while you're moving down the road. Those things that take our eye off the wheel, that change our focus from what it should be when we're behind the wheel. And that's 100% of the time on the road ahead and on the task of driving.
Yeah, that's it's just it is so important and just kind of startling that is happening. So you're going through this push to try and get people to do that. What can we expect in the coming days? What are you going to be doing to address this?
Yep. So across a lot of media platforms and including social media, you'll see our Zero Fatalities campaign coming out with this, some of the lies we tell ourselves as we go down the road and how those lives can impact other lives. And so folks are going to start to hear more of that messaging. They're also going to see some very impactful stories from people who have been involved or have lost loved ones in crashes that involve some of the behaviors that we're trying to target. And we're hoping that that message will be overwhelmingly heard by the general public in the state of Utah, because while this is a national problem, it's not specific to Utah. Other states are seeing the same things we're seeing. We can lead the change that we can show the rest of the country it's possible for these behaviors to be mitigated.
Yeah, it's helpful that you come on and talk to us about this, Lieutenant, so I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, I think we all, it starts with just realizing that it's happening, that has become a problem. So we'll help you keep the attention out there. We're glad to be a partner with Zero Fatalities.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. If you would like to find out more about what you can do to keep you and your family safe, visit zerofataliesut.com, zerofataliesut.com.